Hi friends, welcome back to our channel. As I was doing our glitter cardstock video, it reminded me that I wanted to show you one of my favorite tips for working with glitter cardstock in my cutting machine. And I think whether you're a Cricut user or a Silhouette user, you will find it very useful. And then I want to do a quick tutorial to show you how I prepare my homecoming cutouts in bulk and save with less waste on my glitter cardstock. And then at the end, I have a very simple but bonus game-changing tip, at least for me. So make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that little bell if you want to be notified when we post new videos. Let's get started. If you make homecoming cutouts or you just use a lot of glitter cardstock in general, you know that they ruin your cutting mats and you go through them much quicker. So I was talking to my friend who owns Cousin Mum Designs, and she actually makes lots of homecoming cutouts because she has an Etsy store that she sells them. And I'll put that link down below in case you happen to not want to make your own homecoming cutouts and are looking for someone. But I was talking to her and asking her like what she does. How does she manage all her glitter cardstock? And she suggested and showed me her little trick that I love. And that is that she uses her older Cricut mats that have lost a little bit of their stickiness, still have enough stickiness that you can get the glitter cardstock to stick, but she basically takes an old cutting mat for each cardstock color and she puts it on there. I use a brayer to secure mine real good, and then you put painter's tape around the outside, and that way the less stickiness of the mat is secured by the painter's tape. But the real trick is that then after you're done cutting, you don't remove it from the cutting mat. Instead, just leave it on there and then I'll show you how I store mine. I'll put a picture up above. But what I do is then in Design Space, or you could also do it in Silhouette Studio, is if I'm cutting maybe not bulk cutouts, but just an individual cutout, I'll pull my cutting mat that already has the glitter cardstock for the right color that I need, and then I will move that around in Design Space so that I can get it exactly where I want it on an open piece of that glitter cardstock. And it's great because then you're not taking glitter cardstock on and off your mats, you're not wasting your new mats, and it allows me to maneuver it as close as possible for less waste on our glitter cardstock. So that would be my favorite trick. I've been using it for several seasons and I love it. I do keep them close to my computer versus closer to my cutting machine because I know I'm going to have to need to grab them for Design Space. And then what I want to do next is show you in Design Space what I also do when I'm creating bulk cutouts to have less waste. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create some bulk cutouts for this one Friday Night Lights Stadium Lights. So I'm going to right click and hit copy, open a new project, and then right click and put paste. Then I'm going to go to the project I always have open, which is my cutout templates, and I'm going to right click and grab the outside layer because that's what I always use cardstock on, and I'm going to put it on the project. My goal is to basically fill up that dead space on the cardstock that I know will be created when I create this bulk cutout. I'm going to use the rectangle and the little bitty scalloped flower. So I'm going to delete the other ones by right clicking, and then we should be ready to make our project. After I hit make it, it's going to ask me if I want to save. I'm not going to save this because it's just a general project, but that's just preference as to what you want to do. So now I know that I'll be able to get 9 of those Friday Night Lights Stadium Lights back layer onto one sheet. So I'm going to change this over to a 9, and then I purposely left the other templates a separate color so that I can move them as I want to on this sheet. So what I'm going to do using my command key, I'm on a Mac, I believe it's a control key on a PC. I'm going to move them over to where I kind of know I want them on that other sheet, and then I'm going to go over and say move, and I'm going to move them to the black sheet, and then that will kind of get them over on the side. Now I can see that they're not going to fit. So what I am going to do is I'm going to cancel that cut, and I'm going to go back, and I do like normally my cutouts to be about 3 inches, but I sometimes plan it as to what's going to help me best utilize my cardstock. So I'm going to go back and change this to 2.85. And then if that works, I'll make sure I change the master one to 2.85 so I don't have to do this next time. So now we're ready to make it. I'm going to go back up and choose 9 and apply again because that's my goal for the black cardstock. And then I'm going to grab all 3 of those again by clicking Command, move them over to the right, and then we're going to move them over to the black sheet. Once they're there, you'll see that they fit. So then I'm going to go back to the gray sheet and I'm going to grab a row of those scalloped flowers to put at the bottom by doing the same thing. And again, I'm going to move them over kind of where I want them on the black sheet. And in a minute, I'll show you why that's the easiest way to do it. Then I'm going to move these up just a little bit since I have room. And then as you can see, we have utilized all the space on our cardstock. Let me go back and show you. If you were to just grab these and move them to another sheet, Cricut is going to put them right where they are on that sheet. So then if you'll see, they're underneath and you have to move things around to move them. So what I've found the easiest thing to do is to kind of move them closest to where you want them on the sheet you're moving them to, and then move them. And that way you won't have to move as many things around when you get there. Now we're ready to cut our complete set of black glitter cardstock. We can go ahead and hit continue. And then I always cut my glitter cardstock on the glitter cardstock setting with more pressure. While a machine is cutting, I was going to show you on the right hand side, this is what will eventually turn into those little scallops. I will put a layer of HTV on top of them as I'm doing my scraps for HTV. And then on the left hand side, you can see the little bow, and that's where we'll end up putting those scallops on our mums. While we're talking glitter cardstock, if you get glitter on your cutting blade, you can just keep a rolled up ball of foil and you can stick it in there and it will remove that glitter for you. I keep these little scallops in a separate bin for cardstock and HTV, and then as I heat press other things, I will create them and then put them in the drawers in that picture that I showed you earlier. Here's an example that you can also, instead of heat pressing in the middle, put some bling in there. We call those mumbo since my mom makes them for me. And then I have 3 of those back templates. That's what I showed you in that HTV video. And then I have 9 of the very back layer of those Friday Night Lights ready to go. And we will do that tutorial very soon. Even though I don't use my fresh mats for glitter cardstock anymore, I always try to keep them nice and clean by using that protector sheet. But I've always struggled with getting them perfectly lined up. And I saw this little tip from Corinne Blackstone, I believe. I'll see if I can find it. I'll link it down below. And if you put your mat underneath your machine, then you can line up the top perfectly. And then when you slide it out, your protector sheet will stay lined up. Notice I create a little label on each of mine that say this side's up so that I'll know which one to always put against the mat. That's it, friends. I hope that this video gave you some good tips on using glitter cardstock in your homecoming cutouts and other projects. Happy creating, and we will see you soon.